Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jiang. Here's a preview of the stories we have just for you today. While California's population has declined over the last 2 years, so has the number of people in the state's major cities. Census data indicates that some are looking for a more quiet environment. A graduate student in Southern California has entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity after allegedly trying to grab a peace officer's gun. The officer was shot in the leg. And water usage is up despite the ongoing drought. Conservation recommendations have been relatively ineffective, so now the southern half of the state is enforcing less water usage with fines. According to new census data, Californians are not only leaving the state for a lower cost of living, but also from large cities to the suburbs for a quieter life.
Both Los Angeles and San Francisco saw significant population declines during the first year of the pandemic. That's according to new census data, which shows the Golden State declining in population for 2 years. Los Angeles County lost the most residents to net migration in the U.S., at nearly 180,000 residents, followed by New York County at around 113,000. In the report, Dr. Christine Hartley of the Census Bureau's Population Division said, "The patterns we've observed in domestic migration shifted in 2021. More counties have been shrinking long-term, but in 2021, there were actually more counties growing than losing population." Housing costs and opportunities to work from home contributed to the move away from the big city. A Riverside-based real estate agent told the Epoch Times about 70 to 80% of the people that go through open houses are from LA County. Rampant crime is also an issue. According to a website that grades counties in crime, the Los Angeles metro area has a D- for overall crime grade. On average, a crime occurs every 33 seconds in LA County. San Francisco has a C-, with a crime occurring every 2 minutes in the San Francisco metro area.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirmed that one of the suspects responsible in a kidnapping last month is an illegal immigrant. She had previously been deported 3 times.
ICE officials confirmed 43-year-old Yesenia Ramirez is an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. She is currently being held without bail at the Santa Clara County Jail. Ramirez was deported in 2018. She returned twice to the U.S. in 2019 and was deported each time before returning again at an unknown date. In 2019, Ramirez spent just 10 days in jail after being convicted of illegal re-entry. ICE agents have asked the Santa Clara County Jail to turn Ramirez over to their custody if she is released at any point. However, California's sanctuary state policy prevents local law enforcement from contacting ICE about the release of illegal immigrants from jail. Last month, San Jose police arrested Ramirez along with 2 other suspects in connection to the kidnapping of 3-month-old Brandon Cuellar. The other 2 men involved are 28-year-old Jose Roman Portillo and 37-year-old Baldemio Sandoval. Last Wednesday, police charged Ramirez and Portillo with kidnapping, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, child abduction, and home invasion. Police allege Ramirez and Portillo worked together to kidnap Cuellar while his grandmother was unloading groceries. Ramirez allegedly befriended 3-month-old Cuellar's grandmother at church. That's when the family says the suspect became obsessed with the boy. Cuellar was reported missing and found safe about 20 hours later.
A Southern California graduate student has pleaded insanity after being accused of trying to grab a peace officer's gun. This played out after the officer came to the student's aid. The officer ended up being shot in the leg. On Tuesday, 25-year-old Du Yu Hao entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity after allegedly being involved in the shooting of a highway patrol officer in April. Du, a Chinese graduate student at the University of California, San Diego, remains in custody without bail. Along with attempted murder, Du is charged with felony counts of assault on a peace officer with a semi-automatic firearm and removing and taking a firearm from an officer. One of Du's attorneys said the insanity plea was a difficult decision to make. The next steps will involve having Du examined by doctors. According to Schaus California Law Group, defense lawyers would need to prove that Du was legally insane when he committed the crime. If acquitted, the crime will not go on his criminal record and he would be put in a state mental hospital instead of prison. The shooting occurred on the evening of April 27th when Du crashed his vehicle on eastbound Interstate 8 in Southern California's Mission Valley. Highway Patrol Officer Tony Pacheco arrived at the scene. CHP spokesperson Jake Sanchez said while Pacheco spoke with Du, he allegedly attacked the officer without warning, lunging for his service gun and trying to take control of it. That's when Officer Pacheco was shot in the thigh. According to a GoFundMe page for Pacheco and his family, he was initially released from the hospital but then later readmitted due to serious complications from the gunshot wound. Pacheco has 2 young children and a third on the way. Gas prices remain as high as ever. The price tag is hitting people hard across the nation, especially in the Golden State.
Just as Americans gear up for the summer road trips, the price of oil remains stubbornly high, pushing prices at the gas pump to painfully expensive.
Oh my God, it's too expensive. Too much money.
That's especially hard on people who drive for a living. The high price of oil is the main cause of the biting gasoline prices.
It was $6.39 and it's cost me $75.45. That's a lot of money. That's almost $100 for a little van like this. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But we're stuck with the prices.
A barrel of the U.S. benchmark crude has been selling for around $100. AAA says drivers are paying $4.37 for a gallon of regular gasoline.
The global price of oil is so volatile right now because of this war in Ukraine. And it's been bouncing around between $100 and $110 a barrel. And it can't seem to break out of that cycle. But that's a very elevated price point to be at. You know, back in August, you could get a barrel of oil for about $64 a barrel. And you can see how much it's risen.
Oil prices worldwide have been high in recent months, mainly because many buyers are refusing to purchase Russian oil after its invasion of Ukraine.
For months, Californians have been asked to conserve water, but recent reports show that water usage has actually increased compared to last year. NTD's Cynthia Kai has a 2-part report, first about water use data.
According to data released by the State Water Resources Control Board on Tuesday, water usage in California shot up by 19% compared to 2020. Since the drought set in during the last few years, the state implemented multiple voluntary water conservation measures. Last year, Governor Gavin Newsom set a target of an overall 15% reduction of water usage. But the numbers show it only went down by a cumulative 1.8% by July. Throughout 2021, water use only went down 3.7%. Water experts at the California State Water Resources Control Board attribute the increased usage to warmer temperatures. March 2022 was 3.6 degrees warmer than average, but March 2020 was 1.3 degrees cooler than average. And 2020 in general received more rain and snow statewide. Water experts say these factors likely led to the jump in water usage. In addition to all of this, a dry spring, a projected hot summer, and snowpack currently sitting at only 27% of average threaten to only keep pushing water usage upwards. It is currently unknown if water usage in April has also gone up compared to 2 years ago.
Since the data says people are not using less water, Southern California is going to start fining people if they don't follow along. Angelenos are being asked to reduce outdoor water usage. Let's take a look at the restrictions.
Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti announced that beginning June 1st, outdoor watering will be restricted to 2 days per week. The select days are based on street addresses, and watering will be limited to times when the sun is not high in the sky. City officials say those who don't comply may face fines up to $2,000 per acre-foot of water supplied. Garcetti said the water restrictions enforcement will begin with education for violators, but it will escalate with fines and tickets if needed. According to the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, efficient appliances can reduce water use by more than 11,000 gallons per year. The city also offers rebates for replacing low water use systems. Those include using certain water-efficient washing machines and toilets, as well as lawns with sustainable and drought-tolerant landscaping.
On top of all that, the drought concerns have brought both a finger-sized fish and government policy back to center stage. The Delta smelt fish, which is a native to Northern California, has been considered endangered since 2009. But while water conservation efforts ramp up, billions of gallons of water have been used to help the endangered species. And unfortunately, those efforts seem to have largely failed as the species is near extinct. Scientists say the smelt's decline is due to a lack of fresh water flowing to the Pacific. To aid that, the state requires water to be sent down the San Joaquin River to the ocean. But as the fish population dwindles, some farmers are saying the efforts are just creating wastewater, especially when it could be used instead on farmlands. Up next, we're going to take a short break, but we've got a whole lot of more important stories just for you when we come back. Another California city is planning to ban ghost guns, including the possession of them. The ordinance passed unanimously and will go into effect this summer. In the same county, the sheriff's office announced a marijuana bust and discovered dozens of firearms at the site. And data indicates that Californians are purchasing more zero-emissions vehicles this year. We'll have a look at some of the numbers. That and more on California Today. A social worker for a non-profit homeless outreach group was shot in San Francisco at the end of April. The shooting came after Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti extended a contract with the same group called Urban Alchemy. The $8 million contract extension is for the group to replace law enforcement responding to homeless-related 911 calls. Instead, unarmed individuals titled street ambassadors arrive at the scene. SFPD said an employee with the nonprofit was shot while on duty but did not face life-threatening injuries. This was the second instance of violence toward an Urban Alchemy employee this year in San Francisco. A Bay Area City Council approved an ordinance on Tuesday to ban ghost guns. One official pointed out the federal ordinances don't ban the possession of such weapons.
That ocean of guns that's already out there, the federal ordinance alone doesn't enable us to be able to say, hey, you can't possess that, which is what we want our police officers to be able to say.
The San Jose City Council unanimously approved an ordinance banning ghost guns, which are privately made firearms that are hard to track. It would prohibit the possession, manufacturing, sale, and distribution of unserialized firearms within San Jose. The move aims to reduce gun violence after the mass shooting at a transit agency last May that killed 10 people. The ordinance will go into effect June 16th. The public will have 120 days to comply. A transgender woman who was convicted of molesting a 10-year-old girl has additionally been charged for both murder and robbery in 2019, according to the New York Post. 26-year-old Hannah Tubbs, formerly James, was serving a sentence in a female juvenile hall. Tubbs was arrested and taken from the juvenile hall and is being held in the Kern County Jail in Bakersfield on a $1 million bail. The Post reported that Tubbs allegedly murdered a man in April of 2019. The original case became prominent after Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon sentenced Tubbs to a female juvenile hall for the molestation charges. Gascon is facing a recall. The Santa Clara Sheriff's Office announced a marijuana bust on Wednesday. They also found a cache of firearms at the suspected illegal grow operation.
Detectives from the sheriff's office discovered about 2,000 marijuana plants and seized approximately 9 pounds of processed marijuana from the unincorporated foothills east of Morgan Hill. The search warrant is part of a suspected illegal marijuana cultivation operation. Those responsible for this operation were heavily armed and extremely protective of the property. Detectives recovered 33 firearms and thousands of rounds of ammunition. Although recreational marijuana use is legal in California, many growers and dealers still produce and sell on the black market to avoid high taxes and maximize profits. The sheriff's office says it is dedicated to holding these dealers accountable. Each pound of processed marijuana can be sold on the street for $1,000 to $1,500. Greenhouse grows such as this are capable of producing 3 or more grow cycles per year. Profits can hit $6 million or more annually. Detectives are also investigating numerous environmental violations on the property, which includes evidence of dumping diesel fuel into the water supply. No arrests have been made at this time, and the investigation is ongoing.
A Los Angeles city is planning to proceed with an affordable housing change at a stadium. This comes after allegations that they violated laws about allowing affordable housing developers to bid on nearby land.
Anaheim planning commissioners advanced a proposal regarding a controversial sale of a former baseball stadium of the Los Angeles Angels. This comes as the state housing department claims that the stadium sale violated state law. The state's Department of Housing and Community Development, which provides affordable housing, alleges the city of Anaheim violated the Surplus Land Act. The law requires public land for sale to be made available for affordable housing developers to place bids. In December 2019, the stadium was sold to the Angels baseball team. The housing department cited the city for failing to entertain bids before making the sale. The department provided the city with the option to settle the violation. The option is to allocate $96 million toward affordable housing units over the next 5 years. The city would also need to build 466 affordable units surrounding the stadium. The settlement would result in 1,000 new affordable housing units in the city. Anaheim Councilman Jose Moreno opposed the stadium sale, saying it was done illegally. Moreno is also worried about the city's attentiveness to economic and racial segregation. He says housing patterns will be overlooked as officials build 1,000 affordable units in 5 years. The agreement will be voted upon by the city council, who has the final say at a later date.
Zero-emission vehicle sales are up again for a second year in California. The agency's data indicates that zero-emission vehicles are taking a bigger proportion of new vehicle sales. Here are the numbers.
A total of over 1 million zero-emission vehicles, or ZEVs, have been sold in California. According to the governor's office, ZEV sales for the first quarter this year account for nearly 16% of all new vehicles sold. This is up from 12% from all of last year and almost 8% in 2020. According to the California Energy Commission, over 81,000 of these vehicles were sold in Q1, with Tesla vehicles taking over 61% of the sales. Most of the new ZEV sales were sold in Los Angeles County. Governor Gavin Newsom's office announced on May 10th that more than 250,000 Californians have received a financial clean fuel reward worth more than $319 million in total when they purchased or leased a plug-in electric vehicle. ZEVs include battery electric, plug-in hybrid electric, and fuel cell electric vehicles. Newsom plans to advance a $10 billion ZEV package as part of his $38 billion climate package, which will expand ZEV access. He aims to shift the automotive industry entirely to all-electric by 2035. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for your sports update.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup. NHL and NBA playoffs each going on at the same time, we can't forget there's a whole lot of baseball starting up for the summer, and the competition is off to a strong start. Making just the 11th start of his career, 22-year-old rookie Reed Detmers pitched a no-hitter Tuesday night as the Los Angeles Angels defeated the Tampa Bay Rays 12-0 in Anaheim, California. The left-hander faced only 28 batters, one over the minimum. No Tampa Bay player reached base until Taylor Walls drew a walk in the 6th inning, but Detmers got out of the inning by forcing Kevin Kiermaier to a ground out in a double play. Detmers threw 108 pitches, struck out 2, and walked 1. Mike Trout hit 2 home runs for the Angels, and Chad Wallach and Anthony Rendon also went deep as part of an 18-hit attack. You allow 18 hits and can't get one yourself? Yeah, it's gonna be a blowout. Rays 0, Angels 12. Justin Turner had 4 RBIs on 3 doubles as visiting Los Angeles pummeled Pittsburgh. Edwin Rios hit a 2-run homer and an RBI single. Austin Barnes had a 2-run double, and Trey Turner and Cody Bellinger each added an RBI double for the Dodgers, who smacked a season-high 10 extra base hits in forging a series tie through 2 games of the 3-game set. Los Angeles starter Tony Gonsolin pitched 5 scoreless innings. He gave up 1 hit with 5 strikeouts and 4 walks. Dodgers 11, Pirates 1. Alex Wood allowed just 1 unearned run in 5 1/3 inning. Battery mate Kurt Casale collected 3 hits and 2 RBIs, and San Francisco made it 2 straight over visiting Colorado. One night after putting up 8 runs in a one-sided win over the Rockies, the Giants did it again, and then some, this time using a 3-run second inning as the momentum builder. Luis Gonzalez and Casale had RBI singles in the uprising against the Rockies starter Antonio Sensatella. Giants 9, Rockies 2. In a rare doubleheader day, the A's and Tigers added 1 more in the win and loss column yesterday. In the first game, Tarek Skubal tossed 7 scoreless innings, Heimer Candelario hit a 3-run double, and Detroit snapped a 6-game losing streak by defeating host Oakland in the first game of a doubleheader. Skubal allowed 3 hits, walked 3, and struck out 5. Candelario had 3 hits for the first time this season, and Jonathan Schoop had 2 hits, including a solo home run, and scored twice for Detroit. Though the game was played at Detroit's Comerica Park, the Tigers batted first. The game was originally scheduled to be played in Oakland during the first week of the season. A's 0, Tigers 6. But wait! Then they went and did it all over again. Adrian Martinez pitched 5 1/3 scoreless innings in his Major League debut, and Oakland salvaged the second game of a doubleheader with a win over host Detroit. Martinez scattered 4 hits and didn't allow a walk while striking out 3. Zach Jackson recorded the next 5 outs for the A's, and Lou Trevino survived a shaky ninth for Oakland. The A's won for just the second time in 12 games. Detroit starter Alex Fado gave up 2 runs on 4 hits and struck out 7 in 5 innings. The Tigers have lost 7 of their last 8. Tigers 1, A's 4. And that's all for sports.
That's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. If you have any ideas for our show or tips, or you got some news leads for us, send us an email at california.today@ntd.com. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jiang. Have a wonderful evening.